All right. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us on a Thursday evening or late afternoon, depending on where you are. For those of you who don't know, Project Wellness does reach across Canada, so we may have some people joining us from different places. We are Project Wellness, a mental health and student wellness initiative created by students for students. And we're very excited to host our first speaker series of the 2025-2026 school year. So to start, thank you, Brianne, for joining us today. We're all really excited to have you here, and I'm sure everyone's looking forward to hearing the answers to the questions we have. Brianne's a doctor of chiropractic candidate and bodybuilding competitor. So she'll have some interesting perspectives to discuss with us today on academics and managing passions outside of school. I think it's always a great reminder that in the midst of pursuing our academic careers, we can still make time to do the things that we love, and it's probably one of the most important things when maintaining our well-being. So we received quite a few questions from the Google form, the RSVP form, and social media forums. So thank you to everyone who submitted. And this is just a short meeting agenda for tonight. So, a little more about what the event is all about. We'll move on to Brand's introduction and we'll hear about her career to date. And then we'll just head to a Q&A. All right, so as a heads up, today's session will be recorded and posted online via YouTube or in a podcast format. So you can keep that in mind if you want your cameras on or off. And then what the guest speaker series is all about, it's your chance to talk to students and professionals to gain academic insights and learn about how they got to where they are today. So we'll follow a Q&A format where everyone can ask questions at any time in the chat, which will be monitored. We will prioritize the questions that were submitted in the RSVP form and social media, and we'll do our best to get to everything. And in terms of the schedule, we'll start with questions anyone has about Brianne's academic experiences, such as grad school. And then we'll switch to questions about her bodybuilding journey, competing, and social media, which will be exciting. Okay, so Brianne, thank you again for joining us. I'll hand this off to you, and you can tell us a bit about yourself.
Perfect. So, hi, my name is Brianne. You can go to the next slide. So I went to McMaster University studying life sciences. And then while I was at McMaster University, I was involved with McMaster Barbell, which is just a powerlifting club. And although I'm not a powerlifter myself, I am a bodybuilder. They taught me a lot of skills in terms of just being able to understand that sport and then connect it to my own sport. And in my last year of my academics in McMaster, I did an exchange during the autumn semester to the University of Limerick, which is in Ireland, and that was a 4 month long exchange. I came back and then I graduated in 2020, this year actually, in June. And then I started going to school at Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College in August. And I started bodybuilding. Oh my gosh, when did I start? Like 2024, so last year. And then my social media kind of launched from there. So yeah, we can get into it. So yeah, like I was saying before, graduated from McMaster, was part of McMaster Barbell, and I started off as I think I was like the first year rep for McMaster Barbell, and then I ended up being the co-president of McMaster Barbell, which was very exciting for me because, like I said, I don't have a background in powerlifting. So the fact that I was offered a co-president role within a powerlifting club was very, very exciting for me, and being able to see the behind the scenes of it all, and just working with people who are as passionate about like health, wellness, and fitness. And then I went to the University of Limerick and I had a really, really great time. I traveled, I met so many people. It was truly one of the best things I've ever done. I am still connected to every single person in these photos today. And I really, really loved my exchange, to be honest. So if you have an opportunity to go on exchange, like definitely, definitely take it. Yeah. And then in terms of bodybuilding, oh, next, my career now. So I started at CMCC this year. So I'm a first year Doctor of Chiropractic student. And I know we have a bunch of questions about that. So I guess just a quick overview of how the program works is that your first 3 years is actually just studying. And then from the transition from your third to fourth year, you're going into clinic. So the summer of your third year, you're going into clinic. You're not getting paid, unfortunately. Um, but you do have the whole entire year to basically work under clinicians and being able to treat their patients, use the skills that you learned in your first 3 years to apply them to real life scenarios and what actually goes on in the real world. Yeah.
Cool.
And then bodybuilding. So I started bodybuilding last year in April of 2024. And what inspired me to start competing was a girl who I saw at my bodybuilding gym, who at the time I didn't know was a bodybuilding competitor. I just saw that she had a really, really great physique, and I really wanted to have that for myself. So I started competing and I did my first regional show, which was in April of 2024. I placed very well there. I ended up continuing my bodybuilding prep for another few months into August, where I placed third at nationals last year. And then this year I did nationals again. And then after nationals, I competed at another regional show. So in total, I've done 4 bodybuilding shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And then in terms of social media, so one thing that really, I guess one little thing that really helped me with my social media was I actually started off by promoting Fit Meal, which is the meal prep company that I'm still currently involved with. And this kind of gave me an outlet to share my love for social media and people and connecting with people. It was, I was always so scared to put myself out there. So doing it for someone else was kind of my gateway into really leaning into social media and putting my personality out there. And then when I was in Ireland, people were really, really interested in my perspective as an exchange student, especially because you're in a completely different place. I was traveling all the time. People loved seeing what it was like. And then I ended up getting a sponsor from TC Nutrition. And if you know Batch 27, it's a very popular pre-workout brand. And I ended up working with them for a little bit. And my last thing that I currently have been doing with my social media is that I've actually been doing marketing for bodybuilding shows, which is a really cool leeway into kind of putting like my passions together all at once.
Yeah, that's awesome. All
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah, and then here are just like two of like my most like popular videos. I don't know if you can play them.
Mm. It, it did work earlier. We could at least.
Is there? And if you hear something going into life, going.
Yeah, and I think this other link does lead us to Instagram. We may need to just move to the questions so that
Yeah,
it's
no worries.
done. But yeah, lots of cool content on there, and I'd encourage everybody to check out Brianne's Instagram. Her handle's on here.
Yeah.
Okay, that does lead us straight to the questions. So again, the chat will be monitored for any of your questions that come up. So please remain muted while we run through this session, and we'll try to get through the chat questions, but we'll prioritize any questions submitted through the RSVP form and social media. So, starting with the academic questions, Brianne, what was it like applying to the Doctor of Chiropractic program?
So, in terms of admissions, what you have to provide is obviously your transcript. You need to do an interview and you have to do a personal statement. They recommend a few courses, but there's nothing that you have to have. Like, so the courses that they do recommend is organic chemistry and biology, half a course of psychology, and 1.5 courses in some sort of humanities or social sciences. And they also want to make sure you at least have 3 full years of undergrad. So you can actually apply in your third year of undergrad to go to Cairo school, or you can apply in your fourth year after you're done. And they just want you to have like a 3.0, yeah, a 3.0 GPA. And it's they also have English language proficiency requirements as well. So
Mhm.
that's definitely something to consider if English is not your first language. But
Yeah.
it is based on the cumulative GPA of your last 30 credits, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's interesting that they want some psychology and humanities in there too. And do you know, like, did you apply to multiple programs? How many are there in Canada?
So there's only 2 chiropractic schools in Canada. One is CMCC, which is the one I'm at, and the other one is actually I think it's in Quebec, and they speak French. So I only applied to CMCC because I can't speak French, not well at least.
Mm. Nice. Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
Great. So knowing how stressful applications can be, and especially considering it was just the one, how did you balance your mental health when applying to programs?
I found that talking to people about what I was going through was really helpful. I think that you can get so in your head about applications. Okay, who else is applying? Are my grades not good enough? Should I take more courses to boost my GPA?
Mhm.
Talking to people within those programs and also just your own friends and people who you trust to even read over your applications and go through them with you was like so helpful. I'll always say like the people around you should be your biggest support system and just talking to them and also not just only doing your applications, like make sure like you're doing other things, go socialize, like go out, like applications should not take over your life. And I also think that doing them early is so important. I know so many people are big procrastinators. I am a anti-procrastinator because it stresses me out to procrastinate. So definitely doing them like way before the deadline to at least flush out your ideas, I think is really great.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice. This next question is kind of similar on the advice side. Someone is asking for grad slash professional school advice. You did touch about GPA, but there's also if you needed recommendation letters, and what would you say makes individuals stand out?
So for CMCC, you did not need recommendation letters, but for the other programs that I applied to, I did need a recommendation letter. And those I sought out, you had to seek them out very early because professors will fill up so quickly, and then you just won't have the capacity to be able to write you something that is meaningful. And you really
Mhm.
want to you don't want like a professor who's not going to give you a good recommendation letter. And I think one thing that really makes people stand out during this process is actually during the interview. So the interview is it's not an in-person interview, it's an online interview done through Kira Talent. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's basically typing and speaking to the camera. They just want to see you as a person and
Yeah.
how are you actually going to interact with your patients. So I think being yourself is honestly what they want to see because they can see through all of like the masks that you put on.
Okay, yeah, that's some good advice.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you did mention this earlier. Do you get to see patients as a chiropractic candidate?
Yeah, so right now in my first year, I don't. However, in your fourth year, you definitely do. And the average age of patients, I would say, are definitely a little bit older. So I would say like 40s, 50s, 60s. Yeah.
Okay. And so how often do people seek chiropractic treatment and what exactly for?
So this is very, very person dependent. I've heard people go twice a week, which I personally think is a lot. Um, twice a week, once every few weeks. It's totally up to you and how much you think you need it. It's one of those things where it's kind of, I would really compare it to like a physio. Like, how often do you see your physiotherapist? How often do you see your massage therapist? Like, I think our scope of practice is very, very similar. So, in terms of people seeking out chiropractic treatment, definitely all on them. And mainly for MSK conditions, so musculoskeletal conditions, so anything to do with the spine and just like those parts of your body. But we also offer like advice and exercise regimens and yeah, things like that.
Okay. And the last question was about the structure of your program, which you did talk about. But in terms of clinical hours, is there a certain set of numbers?
I actually think there are. I'm not too sure of it at this moment, though. I was trying to look for it, but I know you do you basically do a 12-month internship.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would cover your graduate competencies, basically.
That's pretty nice. That's like a whole year.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to bodybuilding and social media. The first question we have is what led you to starting your social media presence and how has that impacted your life?
So I kind of touched on that a little bit before. So I started working with FitMeal, which was a meal prep company. And since then, I've gotten um, sponsorships by TC Nutrition, which is the pre-workout brand that I was talking about before. And I've also gotten lots of opportunities to showcase products. I've gotten a lot of PR, so I've gotten clothes, I've gotten even other things from other supplement companies and experiences. Like recently, I went to puppy yoga, and that was truly based off of my social media presence. It had nothing to do with bodybuilding, nothing to do with the gym.
Mhm.
And I think it's honestly given me a really big outlet to connect with people. I've always been the type of person that loves to connect with people and share my experiences and just really normalize the things that we go through. I never liked the whole idea of, oh, like your life has to be this like picture perfect thing and you only post the highlight reels of your life. Like I am very adamant on making sure that people know that there are lows and it's okay to experience it. And I remember feeling so lonely sometimes and like knowing that other people felt the same way was so it was so heartwarming to know that I wasn't just the only one. And it's honestly it's made me as a person just that much more open and much more willing to share these sort of things without feeling embarrassed.
Yeah, it does seem like you've built quite the community. And from what I can see, it's all about just putting yourself out there and then more things open up for you. So
Yeah.
it's exciting. And how do you find inspiration for your bodybuilding? What pushes you these days?
I think now I think a lot of competitors get into this mindset of, okay, when's my next show? When's my next show going to be? That's oftentimes a very big thing that people look forward to. And when you don't really have that end goal sometimes, and you don't really have like a certain date in mind,
Mhm.
a lot of people do fall into what we call post-show blues, which is what you can imagine. It's just being really sad that the show is over and that you don't really have something lined up for like the next little while and you don't really know what's going on next. I think that for me, what just keeps me in bodybuilding is just knowing that it's never like the stage is great, but the stage is just a moment. It's a moment in time to show your physique for 15 seconds on stage and being able to build strength in the gym, be able to um, lift heavier, do more reps, do more weight. Like that's where I find my inspiration from just building on top of what I already have. And I also think that my social media presence has helped me a lot in this too, where I constantly see people going up on stage and people talk about having a very long off season to really, really build that muscle, especially because you can't build muscle when you're in a caloric deficit, especially which is what happens during a bodybuilding prep. So just seeing how people have really maximized their time within your off season has helped me kind of navigate that myself.
Yeah, very interesting answer. Reminds me about the saying, like it's not always the end goal, but it's also about the journey that matters. Because like you said, once you reach that goal, it's like, what's next?
Yeah.
But there's still stuff to do and stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, I feel like you really got to enjoy the process. And
Yeah.
if you don't enjoy the process, then maybe it's not for you. And that's just my personal opinion.
Oh yeah, that's good advice. So how do you balance school with bodybuilding or bodybuilding with other commitments?
Um, so this one is definitely a harder one to answer. It's so just for context, chiropractic school is about 30 to 40 hours a week. So that's basically like a full-time job. Um, I find time do to go to the gym. And it's hard to find time. I'm going to be so honest. But sometimes there'll be like maybe like an hour or two slot in my day where I'm like, okay, well, I have an hour. Like, let me just go do cardio or um, do a little bit of filming. And I think that sprinkling like that part of my life into school has helped a lot to break up studying, to break up just sitting down. And like the filming part of it too. Like I have to film a lot for social media. I think that that's my downtime and I love doing that. So to me, it doesn't seem like a balancing act sometimes. It seems like something I just enjoy doing. So I don't necessarily think of it too much, but I think having just pockets in my day where I'm like, okay, break time, this is me time. Like I'm not gonna focus on school right now. And I find that oftentimes it helps so much to look at school in a different perspective, to be like, okay, well, I didn't understand this before, but let me just come back to it now with a fresh mind and see if I can do something different. And I think that really helps in terms of just school in general tips. Look at different resources, of course, YouTube videos. There's really great there's this app. It's called I mean I don't know if it's an app or if it's just a website. It's called Notebook LM, but it's super super helpful in just like reiterating things to you in a way that you can understand it. So like certain concepts might be really really difficult to understand, but if it's reading it out to you and you're just looking at your notes, like sometimes that's super helpful too for just like studying.
Yeah, that's neat. I may reach out to you about that and send it to people.
Yeah.
Moving on, how would you recommend establishing yourself as a content creator if you're just starting out?
Put yourself out there, don't be embarrassed.
Hmm.
I think that oftentimes people are really, really scared to embarrass themselves because it can be embarrassing if you think it's embarrassing.
Hmm.
And I think your mindset towards it has to really change to be like, okay, well, this is something I enjoy doing. And if people around me don't support me and aren't excited for me and excited to see like your content, your videos, like, are they truly really someone that you want in your life like that? Because it's easy to hide behind a screen and just be like, oh, like she's so weird or whatever. But if you see that like these people still support you, like those are truly your friends. And to not be perfect. Like I think oftentimes when you're new to content creation, it's like, okay, well, the cut isn't right, the music isn't right, the beat didn't change at the time that I wanted it to change. And
Yeah.
I think just literally putting it out there, you learn from doing. And um also, I do this too. I look at YouTube videos of like Instagram strategy and like what are the best ways to like hook people in and like certain things like that. But there's still a humane aspect to it where as long as you are genuine to yourself and what you love, people feel that. And even through a screen sometimes you feel the passion. So I would definitely say don't be embarrassed, put yourself out there and just do it regardless of what other people think.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, especially about not being embarrassed. I've been telling people that these days too. Like it'll really limit what you do and you just gotta be confident in it.
Yeah.
All right, we will run through as many as we can. Next one is, has bodybuilding helped inform your professional work?
I would definitely say so because especially when you're in the gym, like you see, like even if you look at the signs on like certain machines, it'll be like, okay, well, it's an adductor machine. Okay, well, I know that when you adduct, it means that you're adding. I think of adding. So you're putting
Mhm.
it's a leg machine. So you're putting your feet together like this, I guess your legs together.
Mhm.
And when I think of it in terms of the anatomy I'm currently learning, I see like, okay, well, it makes sense that these muscles are adductor muscles because they're in this part of the thigh, whereas it wouldn't be on the other side because when you're doing this motion, why would the outside be helping you? It's the inside that's helping you. So I
Mhm.
think it has helped me in terms of just understanding anatomy. I'm not great at anatomy. So the fact that I see the signs and I do the actions, it's like almost a direct correlation of how it all works.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay. Any general gym tips?
Gym tips? Oh, I have lots. Once, once again, don't be embarrassed. It's okay to pull up a YouTube video. If you don't know how a machine works, pull up a YouTube video. I do it all the time. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. No one sees what's on your phone anyways. Like most of the time people are just staring at themselves in the mirror anyways. So if you're staring at your phone trying to figure out how a machine works or how to get the form down properly, do it. Like it's okay. And I think one big thing that I see all the time is, and I used to do this too, always chasing more weight on your weights on your lifts, sorry.
Yeah.
And that's definitely true for powerlifting. I think in powerlifting, that is what you're chasing, like that is the goal. But if you are more bodybuilding type of workouts, don't chase the weight. The weight's gonna always be there. I think always perfecting the way you're doing it because if your form isn't correct, you can go to double your body weight. And if you can't do it properly, you're either A, gonna hurt yourself, or B, you're not even doing the movement. So what's the point of doing the movement? And I think that just being very intentional about how you go to the gym, how do you train? Um, and especially for beginners, I would say go with a friend. I think that going with a friend is really, really fun. It's something you guys can do together, figure out the machines together. You don't have to be alone when you do this sort of stuff. Um, and my last thing is go wear what you want to the gym. If that is a big t-shirt and sweats, wear that. If that's a matching set, wear that. No one cares what you wear to the gym as long as you're comfortable. And I think that, like, for me, I love a matching set. I will go to the gym in a full matching set, and I love it because it makes me feel confident in the gym. I know other people who don't like wearing a matching set because it's too, um, they have too many eyes on them. And I totally get that too. So just wear what you want to the gym and wear what makes you feel comfortable to train because as long as you are comfortable in what you train in, you're going to train well. And I fully believe that.
All
And
right.
also, if I don't know about you, but if I spend a lot of money on a gym set, I'm going to go to the gym. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. All right. So we'll wrap up with this final question. How has bodybuilding changed or benefited your life?
I think it's benefited my life by giving me it's shown me that I can be an athlete. I grew up not being into sports. I was always very artsy. I liked music. I liked dance, I liked arts and crafts, and I never considered myself an athlete by any means. So I think it's changed my perspective on what does it really mean to be an athlete, and how do I put everything that I've learned, even in my academic life, into the discipline that I have in bodybuilding. And it's given me so many opportunities to just be in a community where people are so loving and so caring and have the same goals and ambitions as I do. And it's really been a very surprising change that I never thought would happen. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Brianne. I really loved your answers to our questions, and it gave us, I think, a lot to think about. Lots of great advice, school-wise and even just life. I really enjoyed talking with you today. This does bring us to the end of our guest speaker session today. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And thank you again, Brianne, for taking the time to sit with us and answer our questions. Everyone can keep their eyes out for a recording of tonight's event and any additional info that will be sent out soon. So thank you guys and have a good evening.
Thank you.